Hello, welcome to Dungeon Rollers Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Today, for Christmas month, we're reviewing the 2020 thriller fantasy movie. That's according to Google. Fatman, starring Mel Gibson as Kris Kringle, aka Santa Claus. You have Walton Goggins as Jonathan Miller, Marianne Jean-Baptiste as Roof Kringle, and Chance Hurstfield as Billy Wayne. This is directed by Elshom Nelms and Ian Nelms. I have no idea who these guys are. They directed movies like Small Town Crime, Waffle Street, Lost on Purpose, Squirrel Trap, and something called Heavy Petting. What the fuck is this? It was like a short film? I don't fucking know. Whatever. So I did a trailer reaction to this, and if people don't know, I'm a huge Mel Gibson fan, especially since, he was unfairly canceled, in my opinion. White Quarry did a great show on Mel Gibson. Pretty much like weaving this tale of what caused his career suicide, pretty much his career crash, which was like, he was stressed out from his like upcoming divorce, and that's why he went off the wagon with his racist rants or whatever. I'm a huge fan of his movies. His latest great movies are, in my opinion, Get to Gringo, which that's like almost 8 years old now, I think. Get to Gringo, what was it called? Bloodfather, and where he played an ex-white nationalist drug dealer, or sorry, ex-white nationalist biker gang leader or whatever. And what was that other one? Dragged Across Concrete, which is the Craig S. Zoller movie. So a lot of people have been trashing this movie, saying it's like okay at best. And I think, I really enjoyed this movie, by the way. So obviously I'm gonna be a little bit biased, but in my opinion, I think people hate this movie because they don't realize that it's kind of doing the Quentin Tarantino thing, where it's like Quentin Tarantino does this thing where he'll have a trailer and it'll make the movie look like an action movie or whatever, like something that will get you off your fat ass to go see the movie in theater. And really, it's just a character. It's like a drama. It's like a character study, which will end with a fight or whatever, right? This is that kind of movie, and it's very much has this Western feel to it. Mel Gibson's character, Kris Kringle, is constantly listening to country music. He loves to shoot 6-shooters. There's spaghetti Western songs that play here and there, even in the end of the credits. And then there's the fact with Walton Goggins' character, which in the credits he's called Skinny Man, but really his name's Jonathan Miller, who is this hitman character. So he's what a lot of westerns set up this thing where you have one gunslinger versus another gunslinger, and they face off at the end of the movie, kind of like with spaghetti westerns like Once Upon a Time in the West, The Great Silence. If you haven't seen that movie, which The Great Silence, no joke, inspired the Quentin Tarantino movie. What was it called again? Hateful Eight. Yes. To the point where just watch the Hateful Eight and just watch The Great Silence, there's no way they were not, he didn't partially rip off that movie, in my opinion, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so like the story for this movie, before I get ahead of myself, is you have this rich kid named Billy Wennon, who is, is supposed to represent the modern day youth of America, where he's very greedy, vain kid. He's like a spoiled rich kid, who, like, if you look across his room, you can tell he's like, he's a fan of like generals and like war history and stuff like that. So like he takes this like very like I would say like strategic like approach to his life. Like he's like he has a line with his grandmother, where he's like, they're talking about like the science fair or whatever. Which, why would you have a science fair so close to Christmas? But whatever, right? Like she's like, go get him, champ, or whatever, and he's like, win the best of show, and he's like, I'm gonna win, grandmother. Winner, I'm a winner, and winners always win. So he loses, right? And like, has his hitman character, his hitman, kidnapped the girl and basically threatened her to say she cheated. So he gets the best of show, which he does. After he does that, Christmas comes on, and he gets a lump of coal for Christmas, and then he sends his assassin character after Santa Claus, which Santa Claus is real. He's magic. He even has elves, which look kind of pale and sickly. But we'll get into that. And like his hitman character, Jonathan Miller, is like a character who knows Santa Claus is real and collects, as a hobby, collects toys that were made by Santa's workshop, and like he pays, he buys them off people. There's a point where like he's on the road trip on his way to find Santa, and he sees a kid like playing with his toy, and he's like, "Did you get that for Christmas?" The kid's like, "Yes," and he looks at it, sees that it's made by, because all of Santa's toys has like a gold like a gold like plate at the back that says made by Santa's workshop, and so he buys it off the kid for like $100. The kid's like, nah, and he's like, okay, $150. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Off the kid. But yeah, the story is basically like Mel Gibson's character is kind of depressed. He doesn't make he's mostly depressed in this movie because he's not making enough money from the government to like keep his business going, which is supplying. It's not clear if he supplies toys to everybody on the planet or just the kids in America, but like whatever, right? And like he's like sad and depressed, angry that he can't keep his business open. And the reason why he can't keep his business open is because he's not making enough money, because he's not delivering as much gifts as he used to, because he has a naughty list, obviously, and he's not going to deliver toys to the children. And there's a point where like he's on his way to the bar and he's listening to the radio and he's hearing about kids like throwing bowling balls at like cars over like overhangs. What do they call those? Yeah, whatever. Like they're throwing, like the kids are like throwing, dropping bowling balls on cars. You have like kids like killing their uncles or whatever. So like he's like, the movie is obviously political commentary on like, not political comment, like social commentary on like children today and how they're ill, like people today, especially the kids, are like immoral and they don't have family values, which I find yeah. So like eventually, like it's just, the movie is just a character study on like the two main characters, which is Kris Kringle and Jonathan Miller, and like the youth of today, right? So eventually, at the end of the movie, you have this final showdown at Santa's workshop where you have like Mel Gibson's character fight Jonathan Miller character in like a in a traditional Western standoff, which in my opinion was great and was worth the wait, right? I also forgot to mention, like, to make up for the fact that he couldn't make enough money selling, like, delivering toys to kids. He has to take a government contract where there's like where the elves are making fucking like what did they say, like control panels for F-22 fighter jets or whatever, and they have army guys protecting the Santa's workshop. They had a very late response to all the shooting that was going on, which I guess is expected. They weren't expecting like somebody to show up and try to kill like Santa Claus, because like he's not supposed to be real, right? Yeah, so like I also thought like the fact that Walton Goggins, like he talks like in the scenes where he has with kids, he talks about like how lucky they are to get what they want for like for Christmas and whatever, and it's like you find out that the character, like I said in a certain manga review, that he grew up in poverty, so like poverty people who grew up in poverty tend to what was the saying? Whatever. He fell into crime and bullshit. Like crime tends to make poverty tends to make people arable, not kind of makes them shitty people. Which I grew up poor, okay, so I kind of know this, right? So yeah, so I would say if you come in thinking, because the trailer made it look like the movie was an action comedy, and it's not. It's basically it's like someone took Santa Claus and was like, let's make a Christmas Western movie with Santa Claus as the main character. And yeah, so but I have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is like Mel Gibson's character is married to a black woman in this movie, and I in the back of my head I'm thinking that was the producers that did that, to as like they're trying to do like the progressive fucking bullshit, they're trying to like because Mel Gibson said the N-word one time, so we gotta have people see that he's not racist by having him be married to a black woman, even though it doesn't make any sense because they say that in the movie they said that she's been married to Santa Claus since the beginning, which was like Christmas was invented in the Middle Ages. So I'm supposed to be like, it was a way to pacify, to like welcome like Viking Christians into the faith by taking one of their religions and incorporating it with one of their religious traditions, incorporating it into our own religion, right? So like yeah, I have a hard time believing Santa Claus back in the day would marry a black woman. So it's like yeah, and one of my favorite movies from a couple years ago, War on Everyone, the white main character in that was a buddy cop movie with Alexander Skarsgård and Michael Pena. Alexander Skarsgård in that movie has a black feminist girlfriend, the chick from Men in Black International, who's like a dumb fucking feminist bitch. In my opinion, she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking. She's the reason why I won't see Thor Ragnarok, by the way, even though I hear that movie's great. It's because she's in that fucking movie, and there's that dumb fucking line in the movie where like Thor wanted to be a Valkyrie until he found out like only woman can be in it. It's like, oh my god, that's so fucking dumb. But yeah, I don't know. I would say I really enjoyed this movie, but you have to go into the movie understanding that it's not an action comedy. It's like a character. It's like a Western with Santa Claus in it. All right, which is kind of obvious when you see him with the 6 shooter in the trailer. But yeah, I'm giving this movie a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie. This movie honestly would have been a great movie if it hadn't been kind of ruined by Saban's meddling, or whoever's idea was it to have, which the black woman in the movie, she does an okay job. My problem is that, she's also has a British accent, which is like, why does she have a British accent? Oh my god. Uh, is she British? Probably, right? I don't know. It just seems to me like Mel kind of cucked in this movie. Yeah, she's from London. London, England, right? She's in stuff like Broadchurch and Fabrics, Blind Spot, Without Trace, a lot of TV shows, and Spy Game. What the fuck? Isn't that like? I don't know. Whatever. I never saw that movie. Was that movie good? I don't fucking know. Yeah. So I would say if you're a Mel Gibson fan and if you like westerns, this is probably going to be for you. And I also like you have Mel Gibson doing his like John Wayne impersonation, which in Get the Gringo, that's the first movie I've ever seen him do the John Wayne impersonation. He does it again in like Dragged Across Concrete as well. But yeah, it's funny with that John Wayne impersonation because like he was like in the part in the Get Gringo, he wasn't trying to impersonate Clint Eastwood, and it's like, dude, that's like John Wayne. So is he trying to say that like John Wayne is better than like Clint Eastwood? I don't know. I kind of want to go into westerns and like, you notice that there's 3 kinds of westerns. There's the Anglo westerns where like where the main character is like a heroic figure. There's the Italian westerns where the spaghetti westerns where the main character is like an anti-hero. The way you perceive him, he could be either good or bad. And there's like, I'm half Jewish, by the way, where you have the Jewish westerns where they make the main character, like the western main character, look like amoral scumbag piece of shit. Which I'll review a couple when I get a chance, but it's like, yeah, there's like those three kind of westerns, and this movie kind of reminded me of the traditional Anglo western, though like you had the spaghetti western like songs in there, but that's just because spaghetti westerns had better music, in my opinion. All right, I'm probably going. This review probably should have been over a while ago. But yeah, so well, for tomorrow I'm going to review Kara's Prophecies, which is the Tatsunoko superhero movie that was accused of being like a ripoff of Batman Begins. Which the beginning of the movie takes place in Christmas, by the way. So that's why I'm considering it a Christmas movie. All right,